All right, everybody. Dr. Kyle here with our second mobility and recovery workout to partner along with the current program we're running. You can do these workouts, mobility and recovery workouts, standalone anytime. So throughout the week, if you've got an off day from training, you want to get a little bit of movement and a little bit of mobility, get the blood flowing a little bit, heart rate up, but you don't want to push it too hard because you don't want to get in the way of your training. This is an excellent strategy right here. So you can pick one of the mobility recovery workouts, something that addresses exactly what you feel you need at that point in time, and get after it on your off days. But absolutely, we want to see you completing at least one round of this workout on the weekend. If not, 2 rounds would be ideal. But at least one round, we got to get it in the weekend because we got to get prepared for the next training week coming up. So we're going to use a lot of different supplies today. We've got the foam roller. I'm going to want like a little bit of an elevated step, like a box, a bench, a kitchen chair, a coffee table, a couch. And we're going to use a lacrosse ball to mobilize the bottom of the feet. So this doesn't have to be a lacrosse ball, although it's a really excellent home mobility tool that you can get online. Just a hard round object. So oftentimes a dog toy lying around the house is a really good tool. If you've got kids that play road hockey, an orange road hockey ball will work just as well. Just something for us to roll out the bottom of the feet a little bit. So let's get right into it. Now this week I've noticed several times, even stemming from last week's mobility drills, that my upper thoracic spine, so this section of my back, perfect little shirt here for graphic, from here to here has been quite tight for me. And I'm also noticing that I'm getting a little bit of aches in my knee. So we're going to address both areas. The knee we're not going to address directly because oftentimes when you have knee pain, it's more apt to be coming from the ankle or the foot or the hip. So we're going to address the ankle, foot, we're going to address the hip, and we're going to put it all together in one nice package. So let's start with the upper mid back. I'm going to start with a Brettel stretch. So this is something, or sorry, let's start on our foam roller actually. So we're going to foam roll the thoracic spine, and then we're going to do a little Brettel stretch, and then we're going to do a little DNS drill, developmental kinesiology based drill to not only control our new mobility, but drive those gains a little bit further. So foam roller, it's going to be at the base of your rib cage to start, so I can feel the base of my ribs right here. Foam roller goes right at that level of the spine. My hips are going to stay on, or my feet and my hips are going to stay on the ground. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to press my back into the foam roller. Okay, so here is just relax. I'm going to push my back actively into the roller, and then I'm going to arch my spine over the roller. Come back up. I'm going to just inch down the roller a little bit. So I'm just trying to go to that next vertebrae, that next bone in your spine. Push back, extend over. Scooch down one more. And we're going to do this all the way up to the base of the neck. And then we're going to go right back down the spine. So we're going to get 2 nice rounds in. So push down into the roller, arch my back over the roller, and making sure I'm keeping my hips on the ground throughout. So what I don't want to see here is that you're bridging up and over the roller. I want to see you hinge right over the roller. And I've got my hands on my chest to help drive a little bit more thoracic extension. So scooch down one more. Once you get up to the base of the shoulder blades, you really want to pull your arms across your body so you get those shoulder blades out of the way. Get right into that area. Up and over. I'm going to scooch my roller back this way so I have more room. Almost to the top. CT junction or cervicothoracic junction. So where the thoracic spine meets the cervical spine is a very, very important area to get extension in. So don't skimp on these vertebrae up at the top. So now I'm going to start going back down. So I'm going to press, hinge, down to the next one, press, hinge, down to the next one, press, hinge. Now, the foam roller is not going to be specific enough to get all 12 thoracic vertebrae independently, but what we're trying to do is mobilize all the different motion segments of the thoracic spine. So you're probably getting 2 or 3 vertebrae at a time, and that's okay. Right down to the base of the ribs. So don't forget the TL junction or the thoracolumbar junction. It's where the thoracic spine meets the lumbar spine, or the low back meets the mid back. Okay, really nice way to increase a little bit of mobility by distracting the joints and using the foam roller as a little bit of a manual tool to create some shearing between those joints, which is really what we're looking for. Now, I'm going to hop down and do the Brettel Stretch. So you may have seen this before in some of our other programs. If not, I don't think we've done it yet. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take my roller and I'm going to bring my top leg over, much like the drill we did the other day for thoracic mobility. But this time what we're going to do is grab our bottom ankle, pull that leg back so we get a little bit of stretch in the hips, and then I'm just going to rotate my body down to the mat as far as I can. And I'm going to do 5 to 10 big breaths here. Breathe in. And as you exhale, I want you to let your shoulder fall a little bit closer to the mat behind you. Big breath in. Exhale. Good. Now, remember, your body can only go where your eyes are looking. So you want to rotate your head to look in the direction you're trying to twist. Getting lots of extra mobility here. Don't lose the pin on your roller. You don't want this top hip to come up. Keep that down. So that's my bottom hand. It's pressing into this knee. Trying to create some tension across the anterior oblique sling of the body. Really getting a good stretch in this back leg. You'll get a different angle when I rotate over. I'm going to do one more breath here. Beautiful. So let's switch this up. Okay. I'll show you from the back side, so a little bit of a different view. So top leg comes up and over. Pin that roller. Going to grab this bottom foot with my top arm. Okay. And now I'm looking back towards the direction I'm rotating, keeping this pin. Okay. And now I'm going to do my big breaths. Big breaths here. In through the nose. Out through the mouth. Each time you exhale, you're going to try and rotate a little bit further towards the mat. And you probably will find a point where you take a big breath in and you exhale and you don't really go any further. That's just the natural range of your body's mobility. So you kind of just hit the end of what you've got there. And that's okay. It'll continue to improve the more you work on it. Feeling really good working through here. Okay, so that's good for mobility. Now we're going to drive some stability through those segments. So we're going to do a 3 months prone position. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to get down on the mat. Okay, and we did a 3-month plank earlier in the program when we went from 3 to 6 month. It was a warm-up that we did. So we're going to focus on just holding a straight 3-month plank today. So I want your elbows to be at about the ears, okay? And the hands are going to be loose in front of you. So you don't want to be pushing through the hands at all. You want the hands to be loosey-goosey, form a little V right in front of your face, okay? And what you're going to do here is you're going to use your elbows, so push through your elbows to lift your chest up and get into some thoracic extension. So you can see as I come up, I'm looking forward, but I don't want to be arched like this. I just want to be in a nice neutral position. So I want you to tuck your chin, eyes are looking forward, and you're just trying to keep your belly button and your your pelvis on the mat in front of you, okay? So we're coming up into that nice thoracic extension position, pushing through the elbows, and now I want you to try and drive your shoulder blades down into your back pockets, okay? The whole time, I want you to make sure your glutes are nice and relaxed. So all of this extension is coming through the thoracic spine, and we're breathing here into the belly. Driving through the elbows, so we're creating some good shoulder stability here as well, some neck stability, keeping that chin tucked, so don't let your head creep forward. Don't arch it up through here, just nice and neutral, chin tuck position. Hold it, hands are loose. Really keeping that good extension. I can feel I'm really feeling tight through that area, or not tight. I'm feeling a lot better, more control, and building that good stability. Better than I was. Okay, that's gonna do it for some low back stuff. So now let's work on some foot, ankle, hip stuff. That's gonna help address the knee issues that I have been having. So I'm gonna pull this lacrosse ball over, and what I'm gonna do here is roll out the bottom of my feet. So this is one of the really important factors in any ground-based exercise, or we call it closed kinetic chain, which we've been doing a lot of, is the feel of the floor underneath your feet. So your body has a lot of sensory receptors in the feet, and the information that they send up to your brain is what your body will use to find stability. So I'm just going to take a little bit of time to prime all those sensory receptors in the bottom of the feet, give them some love. We put these things in foot prison all day, aka footwear. It's good to take them off and just work the bottom of your feet. Let your feet feel something different. So all I'm doing is taking that hard object, preferably a ball is the easiest, but any mobility ball, dog toy that's in the shape of a ball that's relatively hard, like I said, a kid's hockey ball, or one of the orange road hockey balls work great. Golf ball can work. And we're just rolling out. Try and find some tight areas. And when you find some tight areas, try and scrunch your toes and then bring them up to the ceiling. Move them around a little bit. We're just going to spend a few minutes just dealing with the bottom of the foot here. Just really starting to get some sensory information. Then we're going to work on the ankles. And then we're going to tie it all together by getting some foot, ankle, hip stability built in. So another little sequence here. I'm using the foam roller just for a little bit of support because I am on one foot, so it's kind of a nice way, but you can use a wall or a door frame or a couch, back of a chair. Anything will work here. Good. I'm going to switch feet. So anytime we do any type of foam rolling, self-massage, stretching, passive stretching, we always want to be doing 2 minutes minimum of time under tension. So you want to be stretching, mobilizing, foam rolling for at least 2 minutes. That's kind of the minimum effective dosage for soft tissue treatment. So 2 to 5 minutes being an ideal window to create some change in the tissues of the body. So I'm just going to mess around with the bottom of the feet here a little bit. Find those tight spots like right there for me. I'm going to scrunch my toes and lift my toes up to the ceiling. Scrunch and lift, roll around. So not only are we mobilizing the muscles in the bottom of the feet, but we're also increasing the information coming through the feet to the brain, which is really going to be helpful in coordinating foot, ankle, knee, hip stability in any of our ground-based patterns. So our lunge, our hinge, our squat, our carry, it all relies very heavily on the information that the feet are giving the brain. So we're going to give them some love. something we haven't done a lot of in our programs to date, and we're going to try and be a little bit more diligent on going forward. Really taking care of this stuff is going to be very helpful going forward. Awesome. Feeling good here. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is take care of the ankles. We've been doing a lot of different squats, squatting patterns. The ankles can be a huge limiting factor. So what I'm going to do is take my box bench step, preferably something that's up relatively high. Okay, so we can get some good leverage. We can get into this deep hip flexion position, open up the hips a little bit in the same mobility drill. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to press my knee forward as far as it can go. So I'm actually going to really try and push as far as I can over that ankle. I'm going to come back to straight, and then I'm going to go forward but out to the side. So I'm going out, 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 keeping the balls of my feet on the box and my heel. So I don't want you coming up on your heel or rolling your toes off the box. You want to maintain full contact. Push that knee out as far as it can go. Come back, and now I'm going to do the same thing, but I'm going to push my knee in as far as it can go without lifting up under my pinky toe. So I'm going to make sure I keep that foot rooted on the box, and then I'm going to go back to the start. So pushing all the way forward, pushing all the way out, and then pushing all the way in. Really fight to keep that foot flat on the floor or flat on your bench, box, chair, couch, coffee table, wherever you might be doing this. Really trying to get three-way ankle mobility. So we're trying to get that joint really accessing as much range of motion as we can. We did a little bit of ankle work in our warm-ups this week or last week. And we're going to keep it rolling here in the recovery. One more round on this ankle, and then I'm going to hit the other side. And then we're going to put it all together with a little stability drill for the hips and the feet and the ankles. So same thing on this side, right leg. We're going to drive as far forward as you can, as far inward as you can, keeping that whole deal flat on the box bench step. Really don't lose the box up underneath you. You want to make sure you've got contact at all times. Really put some body weight into it. You want to be fully leaning forward. The box is nice. I can kind of almost push myself forward onto my ankle a little bit more. If you have a little bit of knee pain during this, you can just go to a lower box bench step or just do this on the floor. It's going to be just fine. A couple more rounds here on this side. One more round. Feeling like I can get a lot more range of motion out of this ankle now. This one's was quite tight going inward here. This is the knee that's kind of been bugging me. So now I can sort of start to see where that's coming from. And I'm almost getting a little bit ache into my knee as I push way, way out here, which tells me that I've got something going on in that connection. And taking the time to warm it up today or to work on the mobility is going to allow me to do next week without any issues. So this is the thing with injury prevention, and the point of this whole mobility routine is we really want to prevent any relapses or anything that's going to put you out of training, right? We're trying to catch all of those things that could potentially set you back, trying to catch them now and make sure we're all nicely prepared to continue training so you can finish out this program and feel fantastic. Okay, so now what we're going to do is a little bit of a stability drill for both the foot and the hip. Okay, so we're gonna do what's called a tripod sit back. So this is a tripod position. It's developmental kinesiology again. I'm gonna have this here for support if I need it. I'm gonna try and do the best that I can without. Okay, and what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna shift my weight back and to the side. So back into this back hip. Okay, so I'm loading this back hip as I come down, but I'm also trying to feel the two balls of my feet and the heel on the floor at all times. So I don't want the toes to come up as you come back. Keep your foot on the ground as you shift back onto that hip. If you need a little support, you can use it. Shifting back, keeping my chest nice and upright, spinal position. Excuse me. And then push up through the hips. Okay? Excuse me. We're going to go again. Coming back nice and slow. Fight for this foot position. Back, 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 back onto that hip. You can really feel the outside of this hip burning here, keeping your chest upright. Push up and through. Okay? So I'm going to try and stay a little bit more upright this time as I sit back on this hip, keeping my foot in contact out front here. Push up and through. A couple more reps here. Really starting to burn these hip stabilizers. Also really connecting that foot stability in the front. So I'm grasping the mat. I'm feeling my foot the entire time. Drive up and through. I'm going to get one more rep in here, and then I'm going to switch sides. Excellent hip stability drill. Now we are doing a lot of demanding hip stuff this week coming up. We've got some big things coming through that are going to require a lot of stability in the hips. We built that in through some really good programming and planning and some really hard work on these patterns. And now we're getting prepped and ready for the big deal tomorrow, or next week, sorry. Okay, so here we go. Sitting back onto this hip, so back and sideways. Back, shifting to the side, really feeling the outside of this hip light up, feeling the floor under my foot. And what's very interesting to me is that this side is so much easier. This right side is where I've been having issues with my knee. So getting into this position, I'm realizing I probably have been lacking a little bit of right hip stability for a little while, and or maybe mobility in the hip that could be getting in my way. So taking the time to address it right now is going to help me have a good week coming up. Really feeling that balance around the hip. Maintaining that foot control. I don't want you to lose your toes, the ball of your foot, the inside, the outside. I want you to feel that whole foot on the mat or on the floor. Let's do one more really good rep here. Slow and controlled. Back, back, back onto that hip. Keep that chest nice and upright. Don't fold forward. Keep that chest upright. Sit back on that hip. Pump those hips forward. Whew. Smoking out the glutes today. Wow. Awesome. Okay, so now what we're going to do is I'm actually going to grab a weight plate, but you can just grab a book, a backpack of books. It doesn't have to be heavy at all. It just has to be something that you can hug to give you some something to hold on to here. Okay, so grab a book, a stack of books, a backpack of books. If you have a weight plate at home, grab a weight plate. If you have a medicine ball, that's another really awesome option. You can hug a dumbbell here too if you'd like. That's also an option. So we're sitting on the ground, okay? And what I'm gonna do here is just give my low back a little love. Everybody's low back needs to go through a little bit of mobility, stability work every now and then. It's kind of just like a daily routine, like flossing your teeth. So here we go. I'm gonna shift my butt back. So I just scooched my butt back to the left, scooch my butt to the right. So now I'm walking on my two sit bones. I'm gonna walk on those back a couple steps, and then I'm gonna go forward a couple steps through the sit bones And what we're doing here seems pretty silly, I understand, but we are moving the low back through its entire range of motion, and this is kind of locking in that thoracic spine. So one of the reasons the thoracic spine gets so tight is that it takes over for inadequate low back, either mobility or stability, depending on what you need. Now we're addressing both through our mobility routines and our workouts, but if we want to maintain that nice thoracic spine work we just did, working through that upper mid back, we got to make sure the low back is in good shape as well. And we're going to probably polish off this workout with some press up exercises, walking forward and back, feeling good. Now, if you're getting a little bit achy in the mid back, the thoracic spine, that's okay. What's happening there is that the joints aren't used to this much mobility and this much effort, and they're starting to get fatigued. So it's a muscle soreness type ache, and that's certainly going to go away as soon as we get down and do our press ups. So don't be alarmed by that at all, and please continue to do the exercise unless it's unbearable. We obviously don't want to be doing anything that's really painful. Okay, feeling good about that. Set that plate off to the side, and I'm just going to flip over onto my belly, and I'm going to do 20 good press ups. So my hands are at my shoulders, elbows are tight to the sides. I'm going to really relax my glutes, and I'm going to press my body up as high as it'll go. Let my hips sag down to the ground and repeat. Okay, up as high as it'll go. Let my hips sag and down. Going to look up to the ceiling with each rep. Really get as much extension in there as we can. You can try to time your breath with this as well, so you can take a big breath in at the bottom and then exhale at the top. You'll get a little bit more sag in the hips. Really try to relax that lower body, all in the arms here. $20 reps total. I got 2 more to go. Excellent. Great way to polish that off. So now we've done 2 mobility and recovery sessions. Hopefully you can get at least 1, if not 2 rounds of this in this weekend. And if you'd like to get a little bit more, use this to mix into your off days this week. Slip it in here and there. Quick little routine. If you like last week's better, or if you found that last week addressed more of the issues that you're personally dealing with, then by all means, repeat last week's mobility and recovery workout. These are just meant to give you some options, show you how I go about my own mobility and recovery, and what drives what moves I do, and how I flow between those. So thanks for sticking with me today. We will see you guys next week for another fantastic training week. Keep up the good work. We're halfway there, and you guys are crushing it.